I grinded 100 ranked games on Captain America to see if I can master the tank with the lowest pick rate in all of Marvel Rivals. Captain America is one of the most iconic Marvel characters. He's the leader of the Avengers, and at his core, he's the embodiment of selflessness, resilience, and determination.
I could do this all day.
And you're going to come to find that his role in Marvel Rivals reflects that perfectly. He's one of the most aggressive heroes on the roster. Similar characters from other games are going to be your high-octane, high-skill ceiling characters like Doomfist from Overwatch or Neon from Valorant. He is easily one of the most underrated heroes in the game. He has a mountain of untapped potential that only few have harnessed. From combos to character matchups to game sense and in-game applications.
Oh, I got hit by that. I love you, Cap.
We're going to be covering everything I learned on my grind to Grandmaster. So without further ado, let's get to harnessing. The rules for the challenge go as following. For 1, we're going to be one-tricking Cap, and for 2, we're going to be playing ranked only, and for 3, I'm going to be trekking this voyage alone. My starting rank is going to be Plat 1. I'm minus 22 out of 100, so I'm pretty much hanging by a thread. You want to know something else that's holding by a thread? My sanity whenever I start having internet issues. You want to know the ultimate enemy to freedom? Lag. Back when I lived at home, I had some bummy internet, and exitlag was a solution to all my problems. Exitlag offers a wide range of service solutions, all the way to AI route optimization, to a dynamic stabilizer, to even a diagnostic center to get a clear picture on what's going on. They even support up to over 2,000 games with worldwide optimized servers, so no matter the game or area, rubber banding and packet loss are a thing of the past. Setting it up is easy as can be too. All you gotta do is head over to exitlag via the pinned comment or the link in the description, make an account, download, and install. Once you're done, all you gotta do is just search up whatever game you play, select your ideal routing, apply, and boom. Connection is reliable as Captain America's shield. On top of all that, they have affordable plans and deals like the annual plan where you shave off up to 50%. They even got solo, duo, or squad packages to really get your own team assembled and ready. So if you and your friends want a better gaming experience, head over to the link in the description or the pinned comment below. Thank you. So with that into account, let's get into some games to spread some good old American freedom.
What is that? Who you fighting? Tell you something.
So at this point, I was on autopilot, deadass just swinging on everybody. I'm on defense and I don't have a clue on what I'm doing. Out of that entire debacle, I came out with 1 kill, and that was on a rocket that was 1 HP that I literally chased down. But some of you may have noticed though that I skipped an entire half. That's because offense was an entirely different story. So 14-2 for my first go around, not too shabby. Don't think it was all perfect though. After rewatching it, my gameplay was riddled with mistakes, unnecessary damage, and deaths that could have easily been avoided. Don't worry though, because we're going to be ironing those out later. Although at this point, I had like 0 experience in the tank role. For context, I've never touched a shield tank, and I briefly touched Captain America a couple games early in my playthrough, but tank has been a fraction of my playing time. But after a couple hundred games of duelisting, I did have a general idea of what my job should be as a tank. One is be the first one in and get all the attention. 2, create space for your team to cook. And 3, generally just protecting the team. Saying it though is much easier than actually applying it. Little did I know though that my understanding of the tank role was surface level at best at the time. The tank role ended up being way more nuanced and complex than I first anticipated. For example, on defense, I started struggling. Aside from the first team fight where we won convincingly, it started going downhill from there. I was already unsure on how to be impactful on defense. This is when I was truly met face to face with my biggest kryptonite as a Captain America player. The triple support comps. You bring Tickle Monster a whole different meaning when you're up against this comp. Captain America's damage output is already really low, so having 3 healers pretty much just chain heal each other makes it a grind for me to get a single kill. I found that on offense you can make it work if you can isolate players from the pack and apply enough pressure to disrupt healing chains, but when you're on defense it's a whole different issue, and like every issue there's always going to be a Y in the equation, and that's something I really struggled to figure out, but more on that later. After we struggled on making some stops, we went into overtime, and out of respect for my team who were chill, friendly, and giving it their all, since I couldn't manage to make Cap work on D, I swapped to Wolverine because they had 2 tanks, so it felt like a solid choice. And since we're starting off with a Pantera song, and who better than Wolverine to fit the vibe? And we ended up winning swiftly enough on D. Then we moved on to attack, and it was time for me to suit up again. To start off the round, I went on a massive flank of Destiny on this right side over here. My favorite thing about Cap is without a doubt his mobility and his speed. His sprint is literally infinite. I remember this one time when I first started, I clicked Magneto, and then I floated out of spawn at a snail's pace. And let me tell you, I instantly turned heel and floated my ass back to swap to a faster character. Anyways, as I worked my way around, I denied the rocket respawn beacon right here, and I gave Hela a little jump scare. So at this point, these guys know that there's a big brawlic white man to their left. So I take this opportunity to fly at them with a reckless abandon to apply some pressure in hopes of opening up some space for my team. So by putting myself firmly between their healers and their tank, that forces their Magneto to back up, and then space has been acquired. And so with that, my first game on Cap is a dub, but I'm not really content with my performance in the slightest. I can tell there's much more on the table for this hero. I am sure of one thing though, this character is loads of fun.
This is #1 champion sound, yeah, a style we about to get down. Nobody in the world right now, just down in the town.
Find us.
Give me a pound, tell them put the money in my hand right now. We more seats, we just sit out on the floor seats. Giving them in the UK, everybody gonna say you.
Bro, we're like, where are they in my ult, my nigga?
It's that one seat, tell me down, down. Walk like a fool now. Always like a fool, ow. Ain't nothing new now. And I know you ain't into all that. I heard your lyrics, I feel your spirit, but a little talk that.
Nice.
Cause a lot of wags wanna hear it, and I'm feeling like Mike at his baddest. Like a to the class.
Here's an example on what makes Captain America so strong. Here I'm surrounded by a whole gang and I'm by myself. Normally I'd be licking my chops, preparing myself for a wild night. Except this is Marvel Rivals, and if I die here, I'm only benefiting their team. They even popped a Sue Storm ult, and even in the movement reduction, I still get out with my life. The more that I played him, the more that I started relating the playstyle to Spider-Man. After playing 100 games on Spidey, I found a lot of similarities with his and Cap's playstyle. That made the transition into the tank role a little easier for me, until the habits of treating him like a duelist caught up to me. But that's a problem for later.
Like watching the guys in the front.
So we're off to a hot 2-0 start, and to my surprise, I was just getting started.
Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's do it.
My physical frame is celebrated cause I made it. Recorded through life and volley like thing created. Got rhymes 65 days annual plus some. Load up the mic and bust one. Cuss while I bust my skull cause it's pain in my brain vein. Money maintain, don't go against the grain, simple and plain. When I was younger, this I used to do my thing hard. Robbing foreigners, take their wallets, they jewels and rip their green cards. To the project flashing my quick cash. You got my first piece of ass, smoking blunts with hash. Now it's all about cash and abundance. Niggas I used to run with is rich. Doing years in the hundreds, I switched my motto. Instead of saying fuck tomorrow, that that bought a bottle could have struck the lotto. Once I stood on the block, loose cracks, reduced stacks. I cooked up and cut small pieces to get my loot back. Time is illmatic, keep static like wool fabric. Packing formatic to crack your whole cabbage. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get high, cause you never know when you're gonna go. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we puff lie, cause you never know when you're gonna go. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get high, cause you never know when you're gonna go. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we puff lie. Visualizing the realism of life and actuality. Fuck's the baddest, the person status depends on salary. And my mentality is money orientated. I'm destined to live the dream for all my people who never made it. Cause yeah, we were beginners in the hood. It's 5%. But something must have got in us. Cause all of us turn to sinners. Now some resting in pieces, some are sitting in San Quentin. Others such as myself.
And just like that, we hit him with a nice reverse sweep. I'm 3-1 at this point, with the only loss being one of those games. So going into the fourth, I was more than eager to finally earn my first MVP.
Look what I'm whipping up. This is America. Don't got you slipping up. Look how I'm living up. Police be tripping up. Yeah, this is America. Guns in my area. I got the strap. I gotta carry him. Yeah, I'ma go into this. Yeah, this is gonna blow. Yeah, I'ma go get the bag. Yeah, or I'ma get the bag. Yeah, I'm so cold like yeah. Hey, I'm so cold like yeah. We gon' go like yeah.
This character is for real a one-man army, because right here I'm literally 1v6ing their team and still coming out alive. Think about it, you have a base health of 650, but with your shield that pretty much bumps you up to over 1000 health. Your shield is pretty insane when you really think about it. You get a 1-second cooldown if you drop it on accident, and if it breaks it comes back for like 5 seconds. And since I'm super hard to kill, I'm applying constant pressure to the other team, and that's going to be your main MO when it comes to playing cap. You don't want their healers to even have a chance to breathe, and if their healers are having a horrible time, their DPS is going to be trying to save them, meaning that's less people shooting at my guys. And that's Captain America's biggest strength. You make your team's life easier, whether it's initiating or leading by example or just doing the dirty work to open up some pathing for your team. You're going to be an unspoken and underappreciated hero for the most part. And that brings my first MVP on Captain America. It felt hard-earned and deserved. And you remember that hot streak that I mentioned earlier? That streak kept getting hotter.
You could find it, you won't, we be vibing. It'll be amazed, my baby mama cuss my ass out. I kick my ass, we best friends like Puffy and Steve's out. Cut the grass with my foot so I can see these sticks. You see them back in the hood, it's cause I see they face. I be determined by the paper like I'm Cutlow Dollar. I pop you punk niggas like I pop my collar. I'm confused, I like Megan, Monica and Maya, Missy, Freaky, and Brandy shot up. Now take a look at how my lifestyle changed up. I'm on now, goddammit, I done came up. Now you can find me with the finest hoes, choosing which whip to drive, but what match my clothes. I got a fetish for the stones, I'm heavy on the ice, man. If I ain't got a pistol on me, sure I got a knife, fam. Get out the line and I'm lighting your ass up. Semi-automatic spray, I'll tighten your ass up. Baby, what we gon' do? All the gangsters around know my whole crew. Nigga, what? Nigga, we put down like we supposed to. Nigga, you can find if you want, we be poppin' them things.
My God.
Oh my god, indeed. We rounded up to 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, which means we had an overwhelmingly strong start. I know I showed my kills, but jumping back to even the first point capture, I don't even think I get a single final hit here, but my impact on the capture is non-negotiable. I want to rewind and break it down and showcase Cap's strength even more. Starting off, I see my Black Panther over here going on the flank of Destiny, so I take it upon myself to cause a huge distraction. I do one of those superhero cliche movies where I go in first and get all the attention just to make an opening for him and my other DPS to try to fish for some picks, and it all goes according to plan. I end up taking all the heat early, but my teammates follow up behind me and we completely back him up into that corner and take the point swiftly. I don't think it really showed up in the stat sheet, but like I said, this character is a selfless hero. You do hella dirty work, and sadly it mostly doesn't ever show up on the stat sheet. Sometimes your teammates don't even realize the work you're putting in, but just like Steve Rogers, do it anyways because it's the right thing to do.
Not wasting my time.
So the aforementioned hot streak at this point was sweltering, and as you'll see, it was about to get scorching hot.
Hey, handsome.
Yeah. Yo, straight from the depths of Queens. Leave you sleeping on the mezzanine. Like you blinking, then switch it to a desert scene. Often heard, but this motherfucker's seldom seen. I'm throwing blows while you waiting for the bell to ring. Drug smoking, razors make the pasta sweet. Slumped over when the barrel and your posture meet. Stay lean like some
shield.
ostrich meat. You full of shit, it's time to get a colonoscopy. Scissor kicks, dick suck from Miss Elizabeth. Lex Luger arms, 4 in the morning in the dark with the computer on. Wasting my time,
Finish it behind.
Taste of old grace replaced in my mind. Born to shine like the eyes on a cat. Same cat, fuck around, put the knife in your back, cause it's nothing. We live and let die, you roll the land and you bluff it. You lifted the cards and showed your hand, pussy. Tailor-made rubber made me liable. Never spilled a soup, rock a linen suit. Play the streets like the ball court, spin and shoot. Strong as Popeye, dipping in the spinach. Take my nuts out your mouth, let me breathe for a minute, please. Your life is cheap like a hooker in the Philippines. About to be a huge star and I'm still in Queens. You on the shelf like a figurine. Drugs infesting my mind, but I'm destined to shine. This the shit to keep these motherfuckers pressure rewind. Thousands of pounds of pressure pressed on your spine. Live the vine, free the mind, lead the blind, read the signs. Hands up like you stepping in the party. Know you getting robbed, motherfucker, with the shotty. Send you potty, make your body do an ollie. Then dig your shorty out, cause I geeked her up on Molly. Haven't eaten dick, no need for seasoning. If 7 dudes are in the room, then she's pleasing them. Like a trooper, hit her in the pooper. Throw her in the shower, then I take her out to Lupa. I'm kinky, I'll hit it even if it's stinky. Put him in the shower, make her pussy brand new. Brand new, give her money what I can't do. Stuff a lunchbox and burn her with the candle. Consensual rape, vinegar solutions. Animal abusing, barrel revolutions. Don't get me pissed off, fuck around, rip your tits off. Still getting head, even if my dick's off. Rising quick, no fleischman. I'm in the end zone with one leg up, posing like Cosman. Throw it like Theismann. Straight with the village leader smoking a pipe with 7 wise men. I eat the biggest piece of chicken at the table. Let them know I'm hungry. Polo on the rugby. The 44 long, surely gotta trust me home. Trying to live American dreams, dusty roads. Yeah, fucking pussy.
So that was the first time I got any sort of acknowledgement for the work that I was putting in for the team, and boy was it gratifying. The hot streak kept streaking all the way till I was at a super solid 14-7 record. I climbed from Plat 1 to Diamond 2 in practically a sitting. I was starting to get a good idea on Cap's playstyle and gimmicks, his ideal matchups and complementary comps. I thought I was starting to get it all figured out until I got a 3-loss streak. When I finally broke the streak with a win, I was met with 2 more L's. Then I fell into a rhythm. For every win, 2 losses would follow. I was starting to question myself until I got a good match MVP game. Some hope was sparked when the pattern was finally broken after I went on a 4-win run after the initial 2 losses. I played pretty well in those, so I just thought it was some unlucky cues. And then I went on a disgusting 9-23 run. So to talk about the problems when running Cap, you gotta start with the good first to get the full picture. So earlier we talked about his survivability and mobility being his key strengths. He's fast and he's hard to kill. Therein lies Captain America's Achilles heel, at least for me. Have you ever heard about the Greek myth of Icarus? Well, Icarus was the son of a great inventor, some guy named Daedalus. He was pretty much like a Tony Stark. So Greek Tony Stark gifted his son Icarus a pair of wings fashioned from feathers and wax to help him escape a labyrinth that they were imprisoned in. Before taking flight, his father warned him, "Don't fly too high, for else the sun will melt the wax." And as Icarus soared through the sky, the more the thrill of flight elated him. The higher that he soared, the more that he ignored his father's guidance. As he soared higher and higher, the sun melted the wax holding his wings together, and he plummeted into the sea and drowned. You may be wondering, why is bro telling stories though? That's because after reviewing my gameplay and analyzing why I started to do worse the higher that I climbed, I realized I built some pretty bad habits, and they mostly stem from the good aspects of playing Cap, more specifically the whole point of being hard to kill and being able to fly around the map. The gift of Icarus's wings warns of hubris, being too overconfident in your strengths to the point where it leads to your downfall. This is important because I noticed that since I started so strong, my confidence was rolling at an all-time high. The games where I played well, I felt like I was unkillable no matter how many risks and how many death dives that I took. I ended up going back and reanalyzing and rewatching my gameplays, then comparing it to a good player like Japanese Curry, and I realized I was making reckless mistakes that were super avoidable. For example, one massive one that I noticed while watching Curry, I realized that whenever I would charge at people, I would take loads of damage and run directly at them. Whereas when Curry would charge, he kept his shield up to minimize any and all damage. I could tell that it was second nature for him, while I'd be running in, hoping that my healers offset the damage that I was taking. The higher that I climbed, the better the competition got, and the more my bad habits got punished. I started dying behind enemy lines a lot more and getting crowd controlled. Whenever I would dive a character, I would just wail on them. Whereas when Curry fights and dives on somebody, he fights and then baits out abilities like sleeps and hooks and stuff, then takes them to town. I did none of that. I was solely just relying on mechanics and reaction time. I had the right idea, I was trying to make the right play, but the execution wasn't entirely there. The other Achilles heel is in regards to his movement. Captain America is fast, so fast paced in fact that I would end up playing him as like a duelist at times. Remember earlier how I mentioned that ended up being a problem? Whenever I got to Diamond, I started solo tanking more. People flocked to the duelist role, and since I insta-locked a tank, they probably assumed I was a tank player, when in actuality, I was a Captain America player. Solo tanking on Captain America is hard work. I advise against it. It's doable, but it's much harder. I mentioned this because there was times where I was solo taking and I fell into my groove of attacking their backline, completely neglecting my own backline. So while I'm over there beating the snot out of their healers, my healers are behind me getting mollywopped. At this point, I didn't have a good balance of offense and defense yet. So the goal was to find a nice balance of backlining and traditional tanking. And what's most important is that I need to get down to the bottom as to why I was losing so much, because these bad habits couldn't be the sole reason as to this absurd losing streak. So I went soul searching. I meditated on it. After much reflection, I got down to the root cause. I wasn't feeling enough pride. I was rocking the American red, white, and blue, but I didn't grow up eating casseroles and dancing to YMCA. I was convinced that if I wanted a shot at winning again, I had to siphon my own personal cultural pride. Luego, ya con un nombre nuevo, estaba listo para entrar en algunos juegos y meterles una chinga.
Cuando un enemigo amenaza la tierra, llegan todos juntos para defenderla, fueron reclutados para esa tarea. Gracias a Nick Fury, de quien fue la idea.
casa con Tony el magnate, un güey millonario con un super traje. Le entra Viuda Negra y buscan a Bruce Banner, que se vuelve un monstruo después de emputarse. Odin mandó a Thor porque lo ha desvelado como los Vengadores.
Alright, you gotta admit, getting an MVP the first game after changing my name is pretty funny. And what's even funnier is that I kept winning. Fuck this rocket! On top of figuring out my defense, my offense was only getting stronger. I was even figuring out my own starting strats and pathing. The more that I played, the more confident I was in my role at enabling my duels to pop off. Like for example, right here I got a Spider-Man flanking with me, so I'm about to cause some havoc to set him up.
Drop wall, break it. Hook two.
The more that I played, the more I found out that the true skill gap lies in your usage of Captain America's shield. Being able to deflect and redirect abilities is unique to him. Once I started being smarter on my shield usage, I saw a big jump. I was starting to heat up so much that I ended up getting my first target ban. I also came across the fact that during a shield bash, you can't get swallowed by Jeff. Pretty neat. Anyways, overall, I consider Captain America to be a valid character to main. When it comes to offense on convergence or just domination, I consider him a solid A+ character. I'd put him at S, but triple support is a pretty big issue to him right now. If you and Lil Bro can just run it down and pretty much alley-oop on dudes, you can completely take over games. If you have at least one other character that can dive with you, your impact takes a huge spike. I felt that on games where I had a good Magik or a Black Panther or a Spidey, we would run it down and overpower teams. But I noticed that on defense, there would be times where I'd have like a Bucky and a Namor, for example, really defensive characters, and so I'd be the only one causing any backline pressure. So it would be a little bit more challenging to take out their healers. Like I mentioned before, his skill gap for sure lies in his shield usage. When watching the Japanese Curry video, in one video, I saw him reflect the Groot ultimate back where it rooted the Groot himself.
Deflected, go, deflected!
I did that once in the entirety of the 100 games that I played, and I couldn't even find it. There was a couple times where I redirected Mantis Sleep or Luna Freeze and I made them hit himself, and I felt like the greatest player on earth. I think that mechanic alone has more potential than people realize. For damage tech and combos, I kept it pretty simple. I saw a short on that Japanese Curry dude's channel about Cap's animation cancels, and that's the only tech that I used for the most part. To know the animation cancel, you gotta understand how Cap works first. First, you gotta get his shield charges. You get 4 of them and they get highlighted blue like this after you punch somebody or something twice. For example, you can hit a Groot wall twice and it will trigger your charges. After you get them, you can hit once and then you just cancel it with your sprint and just do that over and over again. Simple. Something that's massive that I didn't know at first is that your shield throw literally has an aimbot. If you throw it at somebody and miss, it'll bounce off the wall and hit them anyways. It even tracks people who are invisible, like Invisigirl or Psylocke. So if somebody's 1 HP, there's no chance that they're getting away. There could be some one-hit combos, I'm sure, but I didn't think it was too worth it because Cap has 2 abilities that are crucial to his playstyle. And that's going to be his shield bash and his soldier super slam. The most important thing that I learned is to always keep at least one of these at the ready to get out of trouble. For example, you can dive in with your slam and initiate, then use your bash to help you run away. Or you can vice versa and then lead with the bash, then use your jump slam to get away even further out of harm. That's the most crucial. Something of note though is that your shield bash only goes forward. It's not a vertical movement. So many times early on, I made the mistake where I was like looking up and shield bashing in hopes of trying to go over an obstacle, but I would fail. Something more is that I wish his ultimate did a little bit more for the team. I feel like the trail for the ult is kind of tiny and I wish it was more like a domain expansion type of thing or like an AoE circle around you, but the ultimate for just himself is pretty handy. It's pretty much like a third support ult if used correctly. For example, if like a Groot would ult you in the team, I would just pop it out of reflex because it can save the teammates next to me. Or if a healer dies, I can pop it and deny the other team's man advantage by stalling. Overall though, I'm gonna be honest, it was a bit of a struggle climbing on Cap. I finished off with a juicy match MVP for my Grandmaster rank up on my 100th game, but I was still on a measly barely win percentage. My record ended up being 51-49. Not the best. The games where I won convincingly though. But the games where I lost, it felt like an uphill battle the entire time. I realized that one-tricking Cap isn't going to be easy if you're going to be solo queuing. Something that's insanely important in this game is being flexible in your character pool. One-tricking puts you in a dilemma of running into other one-tricks, or just other people with slim character pools. And I felt like this was the biggest issue as to why I wasn't winning so much. If there was a Groot wreaking havoc, for example, and I had somebody like say Scarlet Witch or somebody who can't really break down the walls, my other tank was going to be having a terrible life. What I'm getting at is that there's some matchups that require flexibility. Cap is a pretty flexible character, but if your teammates are struggling, you're gonna struggle. I'm not saying this to blame my teammates. On the contrary, actually, I wish I was better to make them better, but that's the true essence of Captain America. He makes his team better. If I have a Magik that's putting in some pain, I'm gonna make her snowball. But if my team's getting countered, it's gonna be hard for me to enable them. That's what I think resulted in most of my losses, if I had to be honest. I was committed to the Cap, and others were also committed to their own Cap. Moving on to the big counters, I would say Penny is your #1 enemy. She's a great counter for dive, but her nest is the most problematic thing about her kit. If you guys aren't breaking it, you're gonna be taking non-stop damage and you won't be able to make any real space. #2, Rocket Raccoon. He's impossible to kill and I hate him. #3, which is your real #2, is a triple support comp. It's just really annoying to deal with. You can't out damage the healing that they're putting up. #4 is surprisingly enough gonna be Squirrel Girl. If you play against a good Squirrel Girl that can hit her acorns and crowd control you, their whole team can just turn around and fight you in unison and it's a big problem. Surprisingly enough, I didn't really have an issue with Namor in all honesty. I know he's a counter dive, but he wasn't that big of an issue for Cap. And finally, for Cap's team up with Thor, I'll start off by saying it's not really a must-have. It's nice to have, but if you're already going to be having another tank, it'd be better to have a more defensive anchor type of tank like Strange or Magneto. Double dive with Thor and Cap isn't the worst idea, but you gotta make sure you're aware and make sure that you're protecting your own healers. And that's going to conclude this video. I finished the challenge at Grandmaster, one tricking Cap. And if you have ADHD, trust me, this is your character.